Well, hello to my American Horror Story historians and all you Ryan Murphy superfans. My name is EJ Marino and welcome to my channel. I had the wonderful suggestion from somebody in my comments, I'll put you right down here, to rank every Ryan Murphy production that has happened. That is quite the daunting task, so let's get into the video as soon as we can. I am so excited for this. If you know my channel, I talk about American Horror Story, Nip Tuck, I even reviewed Grotesquerie last year, so I am pretty well versed in the world of Ryan Murphy. But how do all of his shows compare to each other? What is the king or queen of Ryan Murphy TV? We're gonna figure that out right now. What better way to kick off a list than do some honorable mentions? I will also say that I have not been able to see every Ryan Murphy show ever. I have tried. I couldn't find Popular right now, at least in time to review it. I also know that not every show is going to make this list. I've only seen Grotesquerie one time. I've only seen Hollywood one time. So those kind of go in my honorable mentions. I actually kind of liked 93% of Grotesquerie. I thought it was pretty okay. I thought Niecy Nash was acting. The story just got a little banana cuckoo pants crazy for me. In Hollywood, it was a cute one and done, like Netflix era Ryan Murphy. It was fine, but it's better than The Politician. I would say it's better than The Politician, but Hollywood and Grotesquerie do not make this list. But we still have 10 shows to talk about, so no waiting. Let's just dive into it with our first pick. Number 10, Ratched. For me, this is the lost season of American Horror Story. Ratched feels like it's so entrenched in what we love in American Horror Story, but it's through the filter of this One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest prequel. I thought this was well acted, well designed, probably my favorite of the Ryan Murphy era on Netflix. Yes, there's going to be one show that is ranked a bit higher, but that has a bigger legacy. But yeah, I really liked Ratched. I thought the costume and set designs were impeccable. I thought the acting was great. Sarah Paulson in a kind of overlooked role in her legacy. We always talk about the Lana Winters, we talk about her Marcia Clark, but I really liked her work on Ratched. I thought she was really evil, which is something we don't normally see from Sarah Paulson. She was just so complicated. The stories were good. Then I thought Finn Whitrock, who ended up being such a central part of the show, was really good as well. Again, it's not one of my favorites. I think some of the plot lines with some of the patients get a little too wacky. I thought, by the time it ended, I was just like, but why? You never want to end a Ryan Murphy series going, but why? But if you look at Hollywood, The Politician, Grotesquerie, and even Ratched, it does kind of end with a, so what was the point of that? Not saying it is horrible, because I do think Ratched has such good acting and art direction that it does find a place on this list. Is it going to be everyone's 10th favorite Ryan Murphy production? No, not at all, but I definitely think it has a worthwhile quality to it. If you have never gone back and watched Ratched, go back and do it now. It is worth the watch. It's well acted, like I said. It's so well crafted. It just has a narrative that isn't maybe one of the strongest in the Ryan Murphy world. Number 9, Feud. Posh, dramatic, and oh so campy, Feud should be a top-tier Ryan Murphy production, but sadly, 2 okay seasons have only put it at number 9. I thought the Bette and Joan season of Feud was impeccable. Is it perfect? No. I definitely think the narrative choices between these two women, some of the acting, not from Jessica Lange or Susan Sarandon, but some of the acting in the show isn't my favorite, but I thought it was just such a good look at one of the most iconic feuds in Hollywood. And then we finally get season 2, and it's the Swans one, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, Tom Hollander as Capote was great. I thought it was, again, another well-acted show for the most part, but it just came and went. It just never made an impression. If I did not review it on my channel, I would have forgot it even existed. I can't even tell you plot points other than that one James Baldwin episode that I did not like. But yeah, I just overall thought it was okay. But so okay season with a amazing first season, it does rank it a bit lower. You're going to see that's actually a common thread throughout a lot of these picks. If it's multiple seasons, sometimes the bad seasons weigh down that good season. I do think Capote versus the Swans does weigh down the feud legacy a bit more. But look, that first season is so good. I wish they would have stayed with more movie Hollywood productions. Do I want to see Vin Diesel versus Dwayne Johnson feud?
Hey, Dwayne.
No, but there is more feuds that are more movie-based that could have been a better follow-up to kind of keep in line with Bet and Joan. But man, I watched Bet and Joan like a couple of the episodes to make this list. Wow. Like, wow, wow, wow. I don't think we talk about, like, Susan Sarandon's Bette Davis enough. We don't talk about Jessica Lange's Joan Crawford enough. They should be, like, iconic gay staples in our lives, but something about Feud just kind of came and went. It didn't make that burning, lasting impression like something at the top of our list will do. It's hard for me because, again, I do like Feud. I think season 1's good, and I think season 2 is not horrible. I mean, I was just at the Critics' Choice Awards, and it got nominations for stuff there. So it made an impact. There was an impression that Capote versus the Swans left on most people, but truly, I wish both these seasons could be a top 5 at the very least, but there's shows that have made a bigger impact in the Ryan Murphy world than this one. Number 8. 911. If you told me in 2018 that this silly little weird procedural show would have as many seasons as it does and a spin-off, possibly another spin-off soon, I would have called you a crazy person. But 911 has become one of Ryan Murphy's most longest running shows, one of his most influential, and one of his most seen. Maybe it's because it's on network television, so it's a little easier to find than something on FX or Netflix. But my goodness, 911 and its little spin-off 911 Lone Star, good job for you all. I don't watch procedural TV. Look, if you're going to give me 28 episodes and most of them are just what medical case are we going to do now? And they're not nip tuck, it's hard for me. It's Grey's Anatomy, it's ER, it's all of these shows. It's Law and Order. It's just not personally my cup of tea. But I have to see the impact that 911 has made. Eddie and Buck, are those the two characters that everyone ships?
Buck.
I don't want to call it off, but you don't want to call it love.
My goodness, you've seen what this show can do. You see my lights changing? That's how interested I am getting in 911. Yeah, I give this show a lot of credit. It's given Angela Bassett consistent paychecks. You deserve an 8th ranking for giving Angela Bassett money. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you're a rerun of How Stella Got Her Groove Back. If you're giving Angela Bassett money, I love you. But again, this hires such good actors as well. I loved the trans representation on Lone Star. I love the LGBT representation we get throughout. We get Jennifer Love Hewitt. We get the weird shipping of the two guys, like I said. Just the show has more to it and has a more impact than it even deserves to. 911 should have just been a 2-season, oh my god, wackadoo weird show. But it's lasted. I mean, we just had a B-NATO or whatever they just did on one of the seasons. They've done what they've needed to do. They make these little cultural touchstones. They make these little pop culture moments of the bee thing or the shipping of these characters that really do last with people. It's not going to be as prestigious as something like Grey's Anatomy or, live the legacy that ER ever did. But I really love that 911 has found its place on TV, specifically network TV, and given Ryan Murphy a really good home there. Number 7. Monster. Even with my hardcore issues I have with season 2 and some of the issues that people have with season 1, you cannot deny that Monster is some of the most well-crafted, well-acted pieces of Ryan Murphy entertainment. Oh my goodness, that first season. Evan Peters, I feel has traumatized his entire life by playing Dahmer so well. It was such a moment in time. We all were kind of, I don't know if it's just pandemic era or just coming out of the pandemic, so we all wanted to talk about something, but Dahmer was such a big deal. I don't think you guys really understood how big it was outside the mainstream. We sit here, talk about American Horror Story, we sit talk about Yellow Jackets, our weird little bubble shows, but Monster left the bubble. It was such a big deal. It had its controversies. I mean, the depiction of Dahmer, the way it handled the violence against young black men, young people of color throughout the whole thing, It was icky. It's not my favorite show ever. I'm not trying to defend some of the gross parts of it, but my goodness, it's so well acted, it's so well crafted. Then you get to season 2. I don't like season 2. I don't have as much to defend. I do think it's well acted. I think the production design's great. The score, oh my god, I love it. I mean, Cooper and Nicholas were such good figures. They acted what was delivered to them well. I think the Menendez stuff is icky. I think the throwing on a lot of the gay stuff there was so unnecessary. I think Javier Bardem and Chloe Sevigny are fine, but they kind of have these like forgettable roles. It's not as impactful as something like American Crime Story, which I definitely think the Menendez brothers should have probably maybe gone in there, and we move some stuff around because I don't think this fits the monster label that Dahmer has. Because look, you have, Dahmer, you have the Menendez brothers, and then you have Ed Gein. The Menendez brothers do not fit the monster label. It's more of a crime story for me. So that's why I just feel that one isn't as impactful. This is why it's not higher on my list, and that's why it's not lower, though. It's so well crafted. Monster is one of those shows that bring back horror TV in such a good, prestigious way. But at the same time, it has its flaws, it has its issues, and there's better, for me, Ryan Murphy stuff I would rather watch. Number 6, Scream Queens. With a stronger season 2, Scream Queens would easily be a top 3 Ryan Murphy production. It is so gay, it's so slasher filled, it's so campy. It was on network TV, so it had this kind of like this weight to it that felt bigger than some of the other shows. My goodness, Scream Queens was so good, but wow, season 2 is not good. Skylar over on YouTube, who is a great American Horror Story Ryan Murphy aficionado as well, did a great deep dive into Scream Queens and Scream Queens Season 2. I also cameo on his Roanoke video. I love what he brought up about Season 2. Like, there were such good qualities, but it's lackluster compared to Season 1, which, again, is not a flawless piece of entertainment. Scream Queens definitely has issues, but I just love what it did for the horror genre. I'm a horror person. I'm a slasher person. Scream Queens means something to me, more than I think Monster does, which I know some people are not going to like that ranking, that probably Scream Queens should be under Monster, but I just really liked that first season of Scream Queen. I thought the mystery was great. I thought the Red Devil and then maybe the Green Monster or whatever in season 2 are good production design, good character slasher designs. I love seeing Jamie Lee Curtis, Niecy Nash. I love seeing, even Kirstie Alley in season 2 is fine. Like, I love seeing these like legacy actresses come here, get to do performances that are well. So here's some issues though. Much like a lot of Ryan Murphy productions, there are some issues with the on-set actions. We have a lot of stuff that came out about Scream Queens that I wish the set was better, but my goodness, you give me like Keke Palmer, you give me Lea Michele, Emma Roberts, oh my god, there's so many people. You give me the introduction of Glenn Powell to my life. You give me Billy Lord, you give me Abigail Breslin, you give me all these fun actresses who I definitely do enjoy watching. And I'm going to have a good time. I like this, again, more than Monster because it's more entertaining, less hard-hitting. And I do think, I don't know, I guess I kind of like Scream Queen Season 2 more than I like Monster, the Menendez one, just because I feel less icky watching Scream Queens Season 2 than I do feel watching the Menendez brothers. Scream Queen Season 2 is a flawed season of television, but at least it doesn't make people gay who probably weren't gay in real life. Oh, sorry. Number 5. American Crime Story. If you're looking at success rate for Ryan Murphy productions, like what has done the best, I will say, wow, American Crime Story could be a top tier Ryan Murphy project. There is not a bad season of this show. From the OJ to the White House one to the Versace one, there's not a bad season of this show. They're all very well acted. They're all very impactful. They all talk about really important parts of pop culture and news and entertainment and reality. It's all very interesting stuff. I do like American Crime Story. Is it one of my favorites? I don't often go back and rewatch it. I think one, because it is a bit too serious. Like I live in real life. I know about the OJ stuff. I know about the impeachment. I lived through our own impeachments. Like, I get it. So that's one thing I will say that kind of dings it from being a personal top 3 one for me, even though it is very good. None of these are bad seasons of television. I think you can throw on any of the American Crime Stories and have a decent time. It's up to you, though, if you're personally going to like diving into the O.J. Simpson, diving into the Versace stuff, diving into all of this. That's going to be on a personal preference. If kind of crime drama is something you like, I personally like horror, slasher, campy, weird stuff a bit more than this, but you cannot deny how amazing these seasons are. Specifically, though, that O.J. Simpson one. Getting everyone, getting like Sterling K. Brown, getting Cuba Gooding Jr., getting Sarah Paulson, even David Schwimmer coming up in here and doing a good performance. I really love that O.J. Simpson. I do think the Versace one is probably the weakest out of all of them, but it's still very good. I think what Darren Criss did on this season showed me that he is much more than just like, oh, the cute like guy from Glee. I loved him on this season, even though he's playing a pretty horrible person. Maybe Andrew Cunanan would have fit into Monster more than that. Maybe switch Menendez and the Versace season. Just theory, just brainstorming out loud here. But yeah, I really like this. And then season 3 with Impeachment, I don't even think I finished it, but I remember liking it. I remember being it, but there was just so much going on at that time in politics, in TV, and moving and everything that I wasn't just going to sit there and watch, Sarah Paulson in a fat suit. Sorry, I wasn't going to be, I was not going to sit there and do that for all of my weeks. But maybe if you guys suggest it, maybe I will go back and finish it if you guys like it. Which out of these crime stories are your personal favorite? Do you like OJ? Do you like Versace? Or do you like the impeachment one the best? Number 4, Pose.
I doubt we'll be conversing ever again unless I take a sudden interest in dying of boredom.
This show has the distinction of feeling like nothing else in that Ryan Murphy catalog. Maybe because Ryan Murphy was not working on each and every episode, but wow, what a important show for television history. We got the story of the Black trans experience. We got a look at the early days of HIV/AIDS and how it affected this community. We got to look at ballroom culture before Legendary was on TV, before RuPaul was singing Category Is. We were talking about Pose, and we were giving this insight into this wonderful world. We got such amazing performances and actors. I mean, Dominique Jackson, Michaela J, Billy Porter, my goodness, so much. I mean, even like the Patti LuPone, even, Sandra Bernhard coming in here. There's such good acting happening on Pose. These are important stories being told. We had amazing creators behind the scenes working on this, making these stories feel important. Do I think the later bit of Pose is my favorite? No, it definitely feels like they were rushed to end it, and then they ended it. I'm like, oh, I could have dealt with more, but maybe not. Pose definitely for me. It stuck the landing, but the ride, the last couple episodes to get to that landing was a bit harder. It's not like a flawless show, but none of these shows in Ryan Murphy Productions are perfect pieces of entertainment. There's going to be flaws, but for me, Pose has some of the least flaws. It has some of the best acting. It's some of the most campy. It tells a important real life story, even though these aren't specifically real life people that we're following. It just is such a crucial part of queer history. We would not be here today, me as a human who loves Paris is Burning, who is obsessed with ball culture, who loves Black cinema and Black entertainment. I would not be here without what this show is talking about. And Pose just did such a good job of encapsulating that. Pose was such a big moment for Ryan Murphy TV because he to me, put himself out of the show. American Crime Story, American Horror Story, Glee, they feel like Ryan Murphy Productions. Pose felt like he used his platform and gave it to other creators like Janet Mock, Our Lady J, and things like that, to be able to give them that moment to shine and give them a platform. It was amazing to see. Pose is just one of those shows that I think will stand the test of time. You can rewatch it, it's great. You can have never seen it and then watch it for the first time, it's going to be great. I just love what Pose has to do and say. It's just such a wonderful piece of queer entertainment. The sounds are good, the costumes are amazing. Just Pose is one of those shows that remain for me a important part of Ryan Murphy history. Number 3, Nip Tuck. When this show was good, Nip Tuck was good. But when Nip Tuck got bad, my goodness, that's why it is not in that number 2 spot. Nip Tuck is one of those shows I absolutely, like, it raised me. Like, it just, if I did not see Nip Tuck at the age I saw, my love of shock art, my love of cinema, my love of a lot of things, I feel like would have completely shifted. But wow, Nip Tuck birthed me. It was gory, it was weird, it was sexy, it was campy, it was queer. All of these things just, like, invested into my brain and just like changed my DNA. Like, this show is so important. It's so good.
My name is Coco. I'm an African American and I've been passing as a honky white cracker for my entire life.
What?
But my goodness, when they moved to Hollywood, the show stops being as good. I love the Miami era, the Hollywood era, even though Anna Lynn McCord is great. I get it. I like it. It's fine. But my goodness, I look at the first couple seasons, I look at the Carver storyline. I love it. I love this show so much. I've been honored to talk about it on my channel a couple times. I reviewed the first season, and then I talked about the Carver story. If you have not seen those videos, please check them out. Some of my least watched ones, but some of my favorite ones I've gotten to make. I love Nip Tuck. This show was such a cultural moment. You know, the way American Horror Story, those first couple seasons, had everyone talking, people were talking about Nip Tuck. It was, you know, one of those scandalous shows that everyone wanted to have a little part of. It was great. It was fun to talk about. It was fun to watch. It was unlike anything else on TV. And looking still nowadays, there's nothing like Nip Tuck. Yes, 911 has the procedural element that Nip Tuck was there, but it's not as shocking. Like, there's just nothing quite like Nip Tuck. We've never even got an American Horror Story season, to me, that has grossed me out than some of the surgeries that we saw here. I think this show is such a iconic piece of television, but my goodness, if you're going to rewatch it, if you're going to journey back, prepare for those Hollywood seasons. It is not that great. You see, like, the potential. The show is so good for the most part, and then, like I said, when it gets bad, it's just like, it's tedious. It's like, I want this to be good. I want this to be flawless, but it's not. Nip Tuck is so good, but my goodness, it could have been a masterpiece with just a few tweaks or just ending it before they moved to Hollywood. Number 2, Glee. Speaking of a show that was a little bit better before they moved locations, Glee was an utter phenomenon. If you're confused why it's number 2, I'm not even a Gleek, but baby, Glee was that girl. From Billboard chart placements to going on tour to the careers that it launched. Glee was that girl. Ryan Murphy, I don't think, would have had the long-standing legacy, the pull from other networks, the I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do kind of quality that Ryan Murphy has without Glee. Glee just came out of nowhere when it dropped. Like, I remember being obsessed with Glee that first season, and then I kind of dip out by season 2. I honestly dip out by season 1 sometimes. But then, you know, I rewatched it later on. My mom's a big Glee person, and so I just kind of had this warm appreciation for it. But every time something Glee related comes up, I see y'all online talking about it. I love revisiting the what the hell moments. Remember Telephone with Rachel singing it? My goodness, you remember Sue singing Super Bass? Like, these are some moments that feel like fever dreams. It's just one of those shows that I cannot believe was on TV for as long as it was. I cannot believe they got away with it. The songs that they covered, the homages that they paid. I love the Britney episode. I love the Gaga episode. Remember when they did an Applause versus Roar Katy Perry Gaga episode? What was going on? But that's just how impactful this show was. It was able to pull from pop culture, pretty recent pop culture as well. Scream Queens did that as well, but I think Glee almost was a little bit more relevant at times. I love that Glee was just so weird, so outlandish, but it was on network TV. It was like a normal show that your grandma could watch. It was just so cool to see Ryan Murphy slip this into the mainstream, where American Horror Story, Nip Tuck were on FX, were kind of this dirty, dingy, weird, like, sisters to Glee. Glee was up front being like, I will bring in all the money, I would bring in all the fans, and then I'm going to get people hooked to Ryan Murphy. I just love what Glee stood for. You know, it sucks that we've lost cast members from this, and, you know, and then other cast members who are horrible people and then kind of check themselves out of life. But yeah, I just think we have a legacy. I mean, Corey and Naya are these two figures that have meant so much to this fan base. Seeing what the careers, like it said, that it launched, seeing all the cameos that Glee was able to get, hearing Let's Have a Kiki, the Turkey Lurkey song. Enough said. Enough said.
Let's have a kiki. I want to have a kiki. Lock the doors tight.
Number 1, American Horror Story. the classic, the legend, the reason I have a YouTube channel. I would not be here today reviewing on my channel, ranking Ryan Murphy stuff, getting to talk about Yellow Jackets, Dexter, and all these other shows without American Horror Story. I started with Apocalypse. I wish I was there earlier, but YouTube and me were I was so scared of YouTube for a long time. But I love this show. I love the impact American Horror Story has had. The first 7 seasons, I would say, are just iconic pieces of television that we need forever. The other seasons, they vary, NYC, double feature, delicate. I wish you were better. I wish I loved you more. But yes, American Horror Story started off great. It's still strong. It's still a touchstone. I mean, Kim Kardashian coming to that last season of Horror Story was a big pop culture moment. So the show still has an impact. It still is able to do it. But I love American Horror Story. I've done rankings of it. I've talked about characters. This show has fed me. This show has literally put money in my pockets. So I will always appreciate what American Horror Story has done. But for TV, leaving just my personal feelings, it is a long-running horror series. It is a long-running shock horror series. That is impossible to get. Twilight Zone, long-running horror. Twin Peaks, not long-running. You know what I mean? We don't often get horror TV that is this impactful, this big of a legacy, this many seasons, still this many fan bases. I love what this has done for television. It has put characters and actors in our lives. Lana Winters, the Countess, these women will live with me forever. Then the actors, getting to relaunch Jessica Lange's career, putting Sarah Paulson in everyone's face, getting to launch Lady Gaga's acting career, the rise of Evan Peters, finding somewhere for Emma Roberts to be a allegedly crazy person at. Amazing stuff. I will watch the weird 1984 season. I will sit and cry about NYC again. I will sit here and talk about American Horror Story all day, every day. And I just love what this show has done. I love the impact that it has caused. I love the legacy. I love American Horror Story. And I think it is Ryan Murphy's best project. It is overall, if you look at numbers of seasons that we have, I think there is a majority of great seasons of American Horror Story. Yes, there's not great seasons, but even sometimes the worst ones, I will sit and watch Red Tide again. I don't think I would go back and watch some of the Hollywood seasons of Nip Tuck again. I don't know if I want to sit with Rachel Berry in New York, but I would definitely go to, Camp Redwood and go to 84 again. So you see what I mean? Just American Horror Story is that girl. It's the reason for the season. It's why I'm here. My goodness, I love this show so damn much. Well, that was my daunting task of reviewing 10 Ryan Murphy productions and ranking them. What did you guys think of my ranking? What do you guys think of this video? What is your favorite Ryan Murphy production? Are you an American Horror Story superfan? Do you think Glee deserves to be over Nip Tuck? What is your hidden one that I didn't get to talk about? Popular. Is it good? Should I watch it? Is it too dated? Let me know what your thoughts are, what you're thinking. Share your thoughts down in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up because YouTube takes those way too seriously. And make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We have an American Horror Story coming. I'm in the middle of reviewing Yellow Jackets. We have more stuff going on. Suggest stuff as well. If you want to see me do a video, this was a suggestion. I would have never done this if someone did not comment it. So again, comment the stuff. I read the comments. I love them so much. All right, guys, let's talk about your favorite Ryan Murphy production right down below.